This is Jasper Beardsley. He has a beard. He is elderly. He is Grandpa's friend, bully, and possible lover. Being over 90 years old, Jasper has suffered many ailments and injuries over the years, including cataracts, diabetes, being shot in the leg, and a broken beard. In his spare time, Jasper enjoys bird watching and the freezer section of the Quickie Mart. However, please refrain from staring at his sandals. Otherwise, that's a paddlin'. This is the history of Jasper. We've talked about Bart's friend, we've talked about Homer's friend, now Grandpa's friend gets his moment in the sun. To be honest, I knew next to nothing about this guy going into this video, other than that he's old, he has a beard, and he is in Grandpa scenes. He's so gruff and taciturn, he's like a riddle wrapped in enigma, wrapped in a vest. Hey, wait a minute. Frankly, I just want to know what the deal with this guy is. Who is the man behind the beard? As always, let's go back to the beginning to find out. Jasper's first appearance is quite unique in that he started out as a background character in Homer's Odyssey, as one of the retired people with nothing better to do. This is remarkable because this is an episode featuring so many bizarre background characters that got banished to the Shadow Realm. Yet Jasper made it. You can even kinda hear him mumble, "Ooh, tough customer," although it doesn't sound much like his official voice yet. However, it makes sense why this elderly character model stuck around, because they needed him for Bart the General. Jasper comes in to bully Grandpa, demanding the newspaper for the crossword puzzle, ultimately getting his way. I made that Nelson joke earlier, but it's likely that the only reason Jasper wears a vest to this day is because Nelson wears one, originally meant as a generational parallel. I had literally never considered this design decision, and my mind is a little blown right now. Anyway, to close out Season 1, he's also in The Telltale Head a couple times. Season 2 dropped the bullying angle of their relationship, leaning more into the cantankerous old person stereotype. They argue about who's gonna change the channel, with Grandpa calling him a jerk. They hate the McBain movie together and complain to the manager. Jasper even has his mug taken away during the big fight. His big turning point is probably old money, finally seeing the softer side of his personality. He explains Bee's passing and comforts his friend. Here's where we also learn that his name is Jasper. By the time we've reached the Gene and Reese era, Jasper cemented his gruff, curmudgeonly role in the series. We learn that he's a veteran, but is quite suspicious of Lisa writing her speech. He's mighty sick of living in Bart's dystopia. He doesn't give a crap about Homer's meltdown. He's not excited by Aerosmith either, wiping his mouth with their scarf. Oh, does Burns want to try a new hobby? Here's Grandpa and Jasper to belittle him. The only person Jasper's into is Edna Krabappel, and even with her, he suffers no fools. Jasper, that's Edna Krabappel. You only get one chance with Edna Krabappel. Jasper started branching out more, taking part in the Oh Streetcar musical and a microwave cooking class. Oh wait, coping with senility. We learn he has a granddaughter, who sends him a Valentine every year. And he has an interest in the deadly arts, hiding various weapons in his beard. With Abe sneaking around, he will put them to good use. All this has been well and good so far for Jasper, but it's really the David Merkin era that made him a star. As the stories get bigger and wackier, they found more uses for an oddball like this guy. Like, take his B Sharps audition, where he puts lyrics to Theme from a Summer Place. Very funny sequence, 5 stars. Jasper's evolving into a quirky personality, where it's just funny making this guy say a bunch of weird nonsense. We get jokes where he loves the elephant song because it reminds him of elephants. How he wants to get home to see the dog from Frasier ride the dolphin from Sequest. He gets a sponge bath from the junior campers, warning Bart to stay above the equator. One of my favorite Jasper moments is when he gets lasered, curing his cataracts, and says, "Oh well, easy come, easy go," when losing them. We're finally getting a more upbeat and easygoing Jasper. Like, his relationship with Grandpa is much more friendly, showing them hanging out in flashbacks and after assaulting Matlock. He tries cheering him up with a cake, although it does not go well. And he even tries courting Abe at the end of Cape Fear. And by courting, I mean they had wrinkly old people sex later. The only downside of the David Merkin era is that Season 6 is mostly a flop for Jasper. Yes, he did get That's a Paddling this year, which is, by far, his greatest joke in series history. It's got everything. Jasper being a big ol' weirdo, the repetitiveness, the weird sandals thing, the repetitiveness. This is the best corporal punishment joke since this guy. And then he gets the pencil sharpener thing later. But other than that, Jasper sat on the sidelines that year. His next most major event was getting shot off screen in the season finale. Speaking of which, Oakley and Weinstein has graced us with plot-relevant Jasper, a rarity for the series. He works so well for this plot point, in the sense that Jasper is so curmudgeonly that he would get in an altercation with drunk Smithers, but he's also so out of it that he wouldn't report the shooting, or even know what's going on. Very good use of your Jasper. Other than that, however, this era preferred Jasper in super small doses. In Bart the Fink, he's sad that he gets outbid for Krusty's smutty magazines and later gets told he has 5 seconds to live. He requests a Van Heflin nose job. He asks Abe if that was me or you. Are they talking about the bordello? Is this seat taken, little girl? The wheelbarrow line is over there. Jasper does feel a little more happy. All classic, memorable jokes that each take, 5 seconds each. Jasper is becoming the expert of the pithy one-liner. My favorite of these is how he refuses to get on the phone with Lisa, as he's already talked to her for 20 damn minutes. Just something about the sick-of-it-all delivery that he provides. The weirdest joke from this era might be this one from the Springfield Files, where he takes the wrong pill on the wrong day. Just cause I have so many medical questions about what is going on with him. But the winner has to be the Lollipop song from Spin-Off Showcase. I love this so much. I have trouble articulating exactly why it works so well, but I think it's his dryness that the writers are latching onto. Where people love making the deadpan person say ridiculous things. Ben Stein made an entire career out of that for a while, and I am sure there are YouTubers somewhere that exploit this too. And I think we've seen in the classic era how the writers built up this Jasper juxtaposition over time. Things continue going strong through the first half of the Mike Scully era for Jasper. He'll get random jokes, like Grandpa coming along for the principal and the pauper because Jasper didn't want to come by himself. Or they'll get carjacked by these ladies. This era did include a few storylines that get the retirement home crew involved. Stuff like the B-plot of the two Nahasapeema Pedalons, where he races Homer and enjoys a sauna. Or the Old Man in the Sea student, where he's saying, "You sunk my battleship" in bingo, and then literally taking a ship voyage later. Foreshadowing. In Wild Bart's Can't Be Broken, Jasper and the old folks take over the town in the end. Sometimes the solution is just to put them on various drugs, like in these two examples. One of my favorite Jaspers in this era was in Bart the Mother, where he's in a birdwatching club and finally, at long last, sees a pigeon, completing his card. But obviously, the major highlight of this era was Frostilicus from Lisa the Simpson. Aside from That's a Paddling, this is probably what Jasper is most famous for. Spoiler warning for the later seasons, but Jasper never does get a spotlight episode, and this B-plot is about as close as he gets. However, as per usual, Jasper crushes it. It's a very silly concept and allows Apu to run wild with it. He gives such charmingly wondrous reactions to the world of tomorrow when he enthaws. Wait, did Jasper inspire Matt Groening to make Futurama? It did come out in 1998. Unfortunately, this is the peak of the mountain for Jasper. He basically has 10 fairly prolific seasons of The Simpsons, and then it falls off to about 2 roles per year. Like in season 11, he's just standing up in the crowd during this sequence and playing the spoons during this song. And in season 12, he's part of the group that Homer tries grifting and later does a spinning teeth routine in the Elderly Talent Show. It's slim pickings for him. The teen seasons, when Al Jean returned as showrunner, was a pretty sleepy era for old Jasper, but he did get a few memorable moments here or there. For example, season 13 contains The Old Man and the Key, where he supports Grandpa's story by talking up driving, calling Zelda a tramp, and coming along for the death race. Oh no, he broke his beard. In A Treehouse of Horror, he turns into a goat, which is honestly the biggest slam dunk choice ever. And then, in the following year's special, Homer reaps his soul. This joke in particular is great. How Jasper's on a first-name basis with Doug, the previous Reaper, and how much he misses him. You know, if I were friendly with the Grim Reaper and had to be harvested by the new guy, I would be disappointed too. Jasper seemed to be going through it in Season 15, as his birthday celebration is similarly grim. I guess things aren't all bad for him though. He loves it when Santa's little helper visits and begs Lisa to let them keep him. He makes a deal with Grandpa to get his liver and blanket when he passes, although Grandpa only agrees to the blanket. He carries the torch for the elderly Olympic Games, before lighting his beard. We get a bit of Jasper lore too. We learn that his last name is Beardly, thanks to this list, although it's spelled a bit differently here than what is commonly seen online. And, despite canonically being a World War II veteran like Abe, he also tried avoiding the war and played on a female baseball team for a while. He even held the record for lady triples. Jasper suffers yet another gunshot wound in Season 19, due to Jasper confusing asking about dye packs instead of diabetics. This ended up being way worse for him than the wooden leg incident, but at least it turned out better for him than it did for old Gil. In the HD era, they touched on Jasper's background a bit more, and played up some of the sadder aspects of growing old. For example, in Season 20 alone, we see how the retirement home staff humiliate their sleeping residents. We do get to see him with his son in the wheelbarrow race, but we also learn that he was once married to a woman named Estelle, who passed away. Lovejoy wasn't licensed when she was laid to rest, and Jasper accidentally left her ashes on a bus. In Season 23, Jasper is looking sad again because of his wife's passing and his kids never calling. But when given a robotic seal pet, he perks right up, dances with it, and it changes his outlook in life. They're using him more in these retirement home stories as a target of our sympathy, a motivating force for the plot. In Season 25, he and old Jewish man are looking all sad and alone in the world, so Marge lets them come along and stay at the house too. Jasper says goodbye to his mannequin girlfriend and becomes a burden to the family. Homer does take a shine to his mall walking routine though. 2 years later, after taking some drugs, Jasper gets reunited with the memory of a past dog, perking him up once again. In Season 30, Lisa finds a mysterious box in her elementary school. She discovers it belonged to Jasper and secretly returns it to him. Jasper explains that it was his treasure box that some kid stole when he was 6 years old. He was angry about it his whole life, but now the world is magical to him. It's an interesting spin on Jasper in these later years. I never thought of him as an especially melancholic character in the classic era, and to be clear, these are just a handful of his later appearances, but the HD era did put in an effort to give Jasper some emotional depth, that this is another role that he can play in a story. Even a breezy and topical B-plot, like getting the old folks a Wii, is fueled by Lisa wanting to make Jasper and others' lives better. But you didn't click on a Jasper video to cry and contemplate the fragility of old age. Jasper still kicks some ass in these later seasons. He remains a very threatening presence at the retirement home, who will eventually throw you out of there. In a Christmas Muppet parody, no, not that one, he and Abe sit on the balcony, Statler and Waldorfing it up. They were correct to dunk on this segment. In Season 24, Jasper is Early Bird, a winged member of the dependable superhero team. In this March Madness chalkboard gag, Jasper has upset Apu, Lisa, and Bart to make it to the grand finals of this bracket. What a magical Cinderella run. In Season 28, he inexplicably went through a brief chess phase. In one episode, he confidently challenges Homer to a game of chess, betting $22, and gets utterly destroyed in the process. A few episodes later, he's playing against Abe, betting their pills this time. Looks like old Jasper will be having a panic attack on the toilet tonight. Hey, I never claimed that Jasper was good at chess. To be honest, games and sports aren't this guy's strong suit, given how this shuffleboard tourney turned out. He's a decent enough bowler, but had to be defibrillated just to get going. For whatever reason, the later seasons loved Jasper defibrillator jokes. I guess Jasper wasn't expecting the series to go on for so long, and his heart is starting to give out. The other joke these HD seasons love was his beard flipping upward. I don't really get this one, other than it being a mildly amusing visual. I can't think of a single upward flip in the first 15 years or so, but later, I guess this is a thing he does now. Now, if you thought you'd get out of this video without hearing about Jasper's filthy sex life, you have been deluding yourself. I mean, here he is at the Eyes Wide Shut party in that Treehouse of Horror. You know that magnificent beard has been in all sorts of places. In his season 28 B-plot, Grandpa discovers his girlfriend is pregnant and worries about being a father again. But in the end, discovers it's Jasper's child instead. Phew. That same season, Jasper sends Grandpa a picture of his junk. Okay, this junk. But Grandpa finds it disgusting anyway. In season 32's I Carambus, Jasper's chained to the bedroom wall, where Homer and Marge get it on. Jasper declares, "I love my job." A few seasons later, he and old Jewish man lustfully watch Agnes play noodleball. And afterward, she makes out with both of them, and then locks their lips together while she watches. Then the following season, she runs off to Atlantic City with him to gamble and have crotchety sex. I mean, who needs Edna Krabappel when you're bagging Agnes Skinner? Then there's this joke from 3 scenes plus a tag from a marriage. Grandpa claims to be infertile, having no more munitions in the factory. And then we see his 5 remaining sperm, still ready to go. Wait, there's a Jasper sperm too? When asked how he got there, Jasper sperm says, "Mind your own business." Well, it's obviously due to what happened after this joke in Cape Fear, because... No, wait. That doesn't work because Jasper sperm would be elsewhere, so for this... I guess Grandpa has one of Jasper's balls. No, wait, that doesn't work either. I don't know. I'm now wondering what kind of weird experiments are happening at the retirement home. Let's just say Grandpa and Jasper are close buddies. Coming into this video, I questioned what the deal with this guy was. And I feel like the series has raised more questions than answers over the years. At the end of the day, Jasper is a bit player on The Simpsons. He's a satellite character to Grandpa, who already is a satellite character to the main family. He certainly comes in handy for these retirement home plots, or to give Abe someone to talk to, or just as a point of variety, another elderly man who is not Hans Moleman. I do think, to some degree, old Jewish man took over some of his potential roles, when a scene needs someone more outspokenly cantankerous. Jasper is a man of few words, and that's what we love so much about him. It doesn't lead to a prolific Simpsons career, but a very effective one. He has such interesting turns of phrase, where only this guy could deliver the line so effectively. It's like, why waste time say lot word when few word do trick? I think the Simpsons writers quickly understood the meme-like quality of this guy, the perfect person to deliver these ridiculous jokes. Maybe it's just because of his beard, but it's almost like they write him as a fantasy dwarf, this gruff man of few words. I'm sure Jasper has an old battle axe somewhere in his room. No, not that one. Let me know in the comments what you think of Jasper and your favorite moments of his. Something other than "that's a paddling." Everyone loves that joke. And as always, let me know who you'd like to see for the next Simpsons Histories. There is currently a lot of momentum for Baby Gerald, Rich Texan, Drederick Tatum, Snowball, Groundskeeper Willie, and Rainier Wolfcastle. I'm trying to hold off on McBain for now because we've already decimated most of the entertainment industry, but I can be persuaded if you all want him that badly. Let your voices be heard. As always, thanks for watching.